somehow gone through the Wasiqah Makkah, a very long document. These clauses are highly relevant to our theme today because they speak about moral values, responsible social life, education, social tranquility, women's dignity, children's welfare, and the protection of society from various forms of disorder and deviation. But before entering these clauses, we should pause for a moment and ask, why Wasiqah Makkah? Wasiqah Makkah is not merely another declaration issued at an international conference. It is a document that carries the name of Makkah, and Makkah is never a neutral name in the Muslim imagination. Makkah, what's Makkah for us? I just came back from Makkah like 1 month ago. Makkah is direction. Makkah is memory, sanctuary, gathering, and longing. Before Makkah became associated with Wasiqah, it was already associated with Al-Bayt. Al-Bayt al-Haram, Al-Bayt al-Atiq, the house where the place of return, security, devotion, and dhikr, remembrance. And this Bayt is not detached from family. It is inseparable from the memory of one of the greatest families in the sacred history, Ibrahim, Hajar, Sarah, Ismail, and Ishaq. Peace be upon them all. This is where the subject becomes deeply meaningful. The story of Makkah is not merely the story of a city. It is the story of a family. It is the story of a father who obeyed, a mother who trusted, a child who was sheltered by divine care, the son who later joined his father in raising the foundations of the house, and a family whose private trial became public ritual, sacred memory, and civilizational direction. In that sense, Makkah is not only a geography of Tawheed, it is a family memory transformed into sacred civilization. If we now return to clauses 16 to 26 of Wasiqah Makkah, we will encounter several terms and phrases: global moral values, responsible social practices, familiar challenges, personal freedom, social mores, societal tranquility, and so on and so forth. At first, these terms may appear scattered. They seem to belong to different fields: ethics, education, social policy, citizenship, public order, women's dignity, and child development. But when they are read through the symbolism of Makkah as Bayt, and through the family of Ibrahim alayhi salam, and as the family behind that Bayt, they begin to form a coherent vision of the family. The family is not only a biological unit, it is not only a social contract, it is not only a domestic arrangement, it is a place where divine mercy is received, human beings are formed, tranquility is cultivated, and society is protected. To organize this vision, I would like to use a framework that I have been developing in my own research and reflection. My students know this very well. I will only mention it briefly here because the framework itself belongs to a wider study that is still in the process of publication. The framework is based on several Quranic verses, Quranic foundations. Among them is Surah Al-Rahman, where we encounter a profound sequence: Al-Rahman, Al-Quran, Al-Insan, Al-Bayan, Al-Anam, Al-Mizan. In simple terms, we may speak here of Ar-Rahman, Al-Insan, and Al-Quran. Another important basis is the Quran verse, سَنُرِيهِمْ آيَاتِنَا فِي الْآفَاقِ وَفِي أَنفُسِهِمْ حَتَّى يَتَبَيَّنَ لَهُمْ أَنَّهُ الْحَقُّ. From these Quranic indications, I arranged the framework around three axes: Al-Haq, Al-Nafs, Al-Afaq, or in another expression, God, human, situs. God, human situs, or if you want to say it, use human and situs. This framework, in my wider work, attempts to bring together several combinations: Hissiyat in situs, Aqliyat in human, and Naqliyat from the axis of the divine. Or the empirical, the rational, and what I term the traditional, transmission and tradition. Or the quantitative, qualitative, and what can be called as receptiveness or receptive. And also the larger relationship between cosmology, anthropology, and theory. For our purpose today, however, I will simplify this framework. By God, I refer to the axis of divine mercy, revelation, truth, and ultimate meaning. By humanus, I refer to the human formation in Jismani, Nafsani, and Ruhani dimensions. By situs, I refer to the horizon, the place, the environment in which the family lives and functions. For this presentation, I will further divide situs into two: social situs and physical situs. The social situs refers to the family's place within society, its role in protection, education, and so on and so forth. The physical situs refers to the home, the environment, the living space, where tranquility, intimacy, and care are cultivated. Through this axis, I will read family values in light of the Makkah Charter through four movements. So we can repeat with that. From Hisn to Hadan. Hisn to Hadan. From Sakan to Sukun or Sakina. From Wilada to Wilat or Mawadda. From Rahim to Rahmah. These four movements. Let me begin with the first movement, from Sakan to Sakina. This belongs to what I call the physical situs of the family. The word Sakan refers to dwelling. We call that in Mahalla. It is the place where one resides, returns, rests, and is received. But the Quranic vision of family is not satisfied with mere residence. A house is not yet a home simply because people live under the same roof. A house becomes a home when Sakan produces Sakina, tranquility, serenity, inner rest, and emotional settlement. This is very important today because many families may share the same physical space, but not necessarily the same emotional world. They live together, but they may not speak deeply. They eat together, but their attention may be elsewhere. They sit in the same room, but each person may be absorbed by a different screen, a different anxiety, and a different world. So the first question of family values is not only, do we have a house? The deeper question is, does the house produce Sakina? In light of the Mafiqah Makkah, this is highly relevant. Clause 17 speaks of freedom, but it also reminds us that freedom cannot be